Hi, my name is Bob Hill. I'm the president of the Church of Scientology, Mission of Riverdale at 308 Broadview Avenue in Toronto. This is Sunday service number 58, How to Improve Your Mental Health. Today is the 71st anniversary of the release of the book Dianetics, the Modern Science of Mental Health, written by L. Ron Hubbard in 1950. So it's important that we have a look at this book today, A, because it's the birthday of the book, and B, because this is the forerunner to Scientology itself. In this book, we talk about the subject of the reactive mind. I'll be taking that up with you today. Now, Dianetics itself means dia, through or nous, the mind or the soul. So you resolve the problems of human behavior and psychosomatic illness by addressing the mind or the soul. So I'm going to read to you an article that L. Ron Hubbard wrote, and it's called The Reactive Mind. Now, he may not be aware of what has taken place, but as Dianetics has discovered and can prove, everything which happened to him in the interval of unconsciousness was fully and completely recorded. So that's the reactive mind. So everything that happens to you at a point where you've had a severe loss, painful experience, or some kind of trauma is recorded in the reactive mind. Now, he mentions unconsciousness. Unconsciousness could be in the form of you finding yourself so upset you're not in present time. And that is actually recorded in the reactive mind. You don't have to be asleep to be unconscious. You can be in such a state that you're not really with it. And so the reactive mind records that. So the concept of the unconscious mind is replaced in Dianetics by the discovery that the unconscious mind is the only mind which is always conscious. Wild, isn't it? So all of that unconsciousness is kept awake, let's say. In Dianetics, this submind is called the reactive mind. A holdover from an earlier step in man's evolution, the reactive mind possesses vigor. Vigor is like strength, energy, and command on a cellular level. So reactive mind actually can command on a cellular level. It does not remember, it records and uses the recordings only to produce action. It does not think, it selects recordings and impinges them upon the consciousness and the body without the knowledge or consent of the individual. So you have this reactive mind and you're walking around, and in the reactive mind you have all these recordings of things that have happened, and you're conscious, and then all of a sudden you start to feel this strange emotion, or you start to feel this thing and you're like, what's going on? Why do I feel this way? That's the reactive mind impinging on the conscious mind. The only information the individual has of such action is his occasional perception that he is not acting rationally about one thing or another and cannot understand why. There is no censor. There's nothing filtering this data. So occasionally the person will be conscious when he's acting reactive, but much of the time he may not even be conscious of it. He might just think it's normal. The reactive mind operates exclusively on physical pain and painful emotion. You could have painful emotion at work. Stress with your boss, stress with the client, that's painful emotion. It is not capable of differentiative thought, but acts on a stimulus-response basis. So the reactive mind cannot differentiate one point in time from another point in time. So the boss acting this way is the same as the boss acting that way 25 years ago. It doesn't differentiate the two things. It kind of makes it all the same. Well, everybody knows, or this always happens. That's the reactive mind. This is the principle on which the animal mind functions. It does not receive its recordings as memory or experience, but only as forces to be reactivated. It receives its recordings as cellular engrams when the conscious mind is unconscious. So the conscious mind is you're looking around going, oh, it's a beautiful day. And then all of a sudden you feel this kind of mental mass fall over you and you think, well, I don't know, it might not be such a great day. So the conscious mind has now become unconscious, and the guy's not really being aware of what's going on. Whereas if he went outside and he was conscious and he saw the sun shining, bright day, flowers blooming, etc., that would be a better state to be in. In a drug state, when anesthetized, when you're kind of made numb, as in an operation, when rendered unconscious by injury or illness, the individual yet has his reactive mind in full operation. So you get a drug to knock you out, so you're not feeling the operation. But the truth is, the reactive mind is recording that operation, even though the conscious mind, is knocked out. He may not be aware of what has taken place, but as Dianetics has discovered and can prove, everything which happened to him in the interval of unconsciousness was fully and completely recorded. Interesting concept. So you've got this guy, let's say you got a 9-year-old kid, he's getting his tonsils out. He gets given a drug or something to make him unconscious, and while he's being operated on, the doctor or somebody in the room says, oh, this poor kid, he's got a sore throat. Or he hears the clanging of metal as the instruments are dropped. He becomes conscious, and because he has a reactive mind, that whole operation was recorded. He thinks, I'm just a poor kid with a sore throat. That's how the reactive mind works. So it's not present time, it's that actual thing that happened there in his unconscious mind, which is stored up. And now it comes in restimulation. So every time he feels a little tickle in his throat, maybe 15 years later, because there's all that cellular activity going on, the reactive mind has the picture, he feels like, oh, I'm just a poor kid with a sore throat. Same thing over and over. So whatever happened in the interval of unconsciousness was fully and completely recorded. This information is unappraised. It's not looked at by his conscious mind, nor is it evaluated. It's not reasoned. It's not looked at and thought through. It can at any future date become reactivated by similar circumstances observed by the awake and conscious circumstances around the individual. When any such recording and engram becomes reactivated, it has command power. It shuts down the conscious mind to a greater or lesser degree. Remember how we were talking about that earlier? You're going down the street, it's a bright, beautiful day, something gets reactivated on you, and suddenly you feel this mental mass, and you feel like you're looking through a foggy glass. And what's happened is the conscious mind has been shut down, the reactive mind has taken over, put something there, and you feel this lack of consciousness. So the reactive mind has command power over the conscious mind. It shuts down the conscious mind to greater or lesser degree, takes over the motor controls of the body. So it can actually cause you, you twitch, or you suddenly feel like, oh geez, I got a pain in my knee, for example. It just comes out of nowhere. So the reactive mind has taken over the motor controls of the body. And it causes behavior and action to which the conscious mind, the individual himself, would never consent. He is nevertheless handled like a marionette. A marionette is a puppet with strings attached to it by his engrams. So that's the reactive mind. And surprisingly, in Dianetics, you can actually rid yourself of that thing. You can get rid of all those painful experiences and all those engrams, those points of pain and unconsciousness that cause you to react. And I'm sure you felt this way, where you're just not in control of things, like a marionette or a puppet. You got it? Good stuff. That's the reactive mind. Dianetics can rid you of that. The book Dianetics teaches you how you can rid yourself and others of the reactive mind and be more yourself and mentally well and on the road to spiritual freedom. So take advantage of it. Get a copy of the book Dianetics. That will help you achieve spiritual freedom. You can get rid of the reactive mind, and you can stop being a marionette. How's that? And also today, happy Mother's Day to all the moms everywhere. And, we want all the moms to get Dianetics too. So get a copy of the book, like I said. Let's have a happy Mother's Day. Let's have a better planet. And let's get rid of the reactive mind. Thank you.